the electronic components part 2. Last time we've seen the case of transistor. So I go back again just to draw the what is a transistor. So it's components with basically three legs. Um, we have one which is called the base. So we represent it with the letter B. And from this, we have two components. One is called the collector, the other one is called the emitter, and the emitter has an arrow showing the direction of the current. So I'm going to redo it with more accuracy, maybe. Okay, so here is the base. We have just one line representing the base. On this side, we have what you call the collector C, another circuit, and the other part is closing another circuit, and we have an arrow here, and this is called the emitter. And all of these are inside a circle. So we have the base, a diode BE, a BC collector. So there are two types of transistors. One is called the NPN, another one is called the PNP. So I'm going to see the details about these ones. Um, the next one was the EMF. We have seen also the EMF. We represent the EMF with two um, slides, two plates like this. One is longer than the other one. So the longer plate is usually it has the positive charge. This is the source of potential, if you will, and the small plate is with a negative charge. So we call that EMF, and sometimes also we use the term DC, direct current, when we are drawing a single cell like this. If we have actually several cells side by side, so we can draw it this way. So in this case, for example, we have I put together 6 units, and we call this a battery. So we still keep the same notions of a negative charge and a positive charge. So positive on the larger plate and negative on the smaller plate, the shorter plate. Another one is a resistor. We've seen that before, resistor, but this time there is a big arrow on the resistor here. So let's draw it this way. It has not to be red, but I just draw it red so that you can see it. And this is called the thermistor. A thermistor, this is used to regulate heat, for heat regulator. Now, another thing very similar to that one is the resistance with an arrow also, but the arrow this time is pointing to the center of the to the center of the resistance. I'm gonna redraw it because it's not correct. Okay, so here is again the resistance, and we have an arrow pointing to the center. So this is also just something with three legs, and the potentiometer is used to regulate the resistance of for a given resistance. So we're going to see that when we do some practice. Now the inductor, here's a nuance also. The inductor is spiral. So the wires, the conductor is made in spiral, and this is basically going to put the letter G. The G is for the magnetic field, because this is creating a magnetic field. Now, if we have an inductor and if we put, for example, like a core, usually metallic core, like iron, for example, this is reinforcing the magnetic field, and that's the case for relay. So a relay is opening, automatically opening and closing the circuit. Now, if we have to draw two conductors, because the scheme is in 2 dimensions, so sometimes there is no way to avoid the crossing of conductors like this. If those two conductors are connected, you have to draw a dot on the intersection. If there is no connection, then we'll just draw the two lines, and that means they don't connect to each other, but we need to do it because of the directions. Okay, next one is um, I'm gonna draw what you call the. So this is like a kind of diode again. We have seen diode last time. So the, actually the diode is the head of an arrow, and here is the arrow. Then we have just one side on which has no arrow, of course, against the head of the arrow. Then this is in a circle, and we call that the diode. So a diode is used to represent the direction of the current. So in this case, it will go this way, following this direction, because of the head of the arrow. Now, if we have also a diode in a circle, but you see the two arrows coming out of the circle, and we call this a lead. So the lead is usually it's not a lamp, but it can create a sort of color, or it's not a light, but a very light light. So LED stands for light emitting diode. Light emitting diode. There is another one here, very interested also. I'm going to use that. And this is, I would say, mandatory in any electric circuit. Something like an antenna, but upside down. Or sometimes it is shown this way. This is the ground. So usually the voltage at the ground is zero volt. The next one here is the transformer. So a transformer is just like the an inductor, or also called the solenoid, if you will. So as we've done before, the spiral, and there is a core in between. So we have actually two types of spiral. They are not attached together, but just by through magnetic field, you have the current and the voltage transmitted. So this is called the transformer. For the transformer, we can have, depending on the type of function of this transformer here, we can have an elevator or a reducer. So in most of the case, it is represented by something like this. So we have the two spiral on each side. One is called the primary, another one is called the secondary. Um, I'm gonna finish with what we call the gates. This one here. We have seen that before when we studied the case of capacitor, but the capacitor is two plates face to face, and the difference between capacitor and the EMF is that in the EMF, one plate is shorter, the other plate is longer. So I said before that if we have several, for example, several uh, units combined together, attached together, then we call this a battery. And a battery is most of the time with a direct current, with a direct current. So that means you have only one direction, positive, negative. So we use the term DC in a battery, which is a direct current. But we can see also this sign like this, like an reverse S, and this is also a source of potential, but this is alternating. So we call this AC. So AC is, for example, that's the current used in our houses. In America, the frequency is 60 hertz, and the voltage is 120 or 110. I'm gonna finish with this what you call the gates. There are several gates, but I give you just the three or four here. Uh, so what is a gate? A gate is a kind of diode, but with three legs. So it is like on one side, it's you have two legs. So on one side we have two legs. So here is the one, there's the second one, and on the other side you have only another legs. So I'm gonna use this for analyzing digits, binary digits, which is 0 and 1. So this is the basics of integrated circuits, and the chips, what you call the chips.